All right, well, let's get started. We should run through this in about 20, 25 minutes, so we'll be pretty quick. So just going to analyze previous months. So we're looking at April's numbers, and then we're going to dive into MLS area numbers and some specific market share, specific agent. And these are some of the area numbers that we're going to look at. All right, so we are in the market stats section, just right here, pop up. As you guys know, I prefer to do bar graph, and we're going to look at just the last 2 years. So we're comparing 2020 to 2021. Like I said, we're comparing April to April. So let's go kind of down the rung here. I always do resale and then separate new construction out. All right, so if you're looking at the average right now is, I'm going to write these down, 340K is the average price, up 14% from last year, which we were just under 300. So you can see, obviously, that's tipped almost 47 grand different. Pending sales, this is an indicator of 30 to 60 days behind, right? But we're up 34%, which if you remember, we were kind of behind the last couple months on pendings. So you probably can see, and you probably in your guys' business, at least I'm seeing it, there's a lot more pendings on the board than there was even the previous month. So we're up 34%. So last April, 1,500. This April, over 2,000 of them. So that is a really big indicator. People are asking me like, hey, do you guys think that there's a bubble? Do you think that there's going to be a slowdown? I don't see any indications of a bubble at all. But even if you're looking at these pendings, we had a slight blip. 1 month is never a trend, but we had 1 month where we were starting to be negative in pending transactions. Well, we made it up in April. We were up 34%. So just because there's that little blip doesn't show any slowdown in sight. So April up 34% on pendings. Of course, closed, that's indicative of 60 to 90 days behind us, but it's also, that's on trend. That's everything that we saw the last 4 months. So that needle hasn't really moved. So again, it's just showing steady. If we start to see pending sales dramatically drop on a consistent monthly basis, and we also see this 9 to 10% closed sales start slowing down, then we could talk about not necessarily the bubble bursting, but just consumer demand is going to be waning. But it's probably the longest I've ever seen buyer demand. People still want to keep buying houses, and you can see both based on closed sales and pending sales. Whoops, I did the wrong one here. Yeah, if you're looking at that, 34% up on pendings, closed sales up 9.8. There ain't no slowing down. So we all need to drink our coffee and eat our Wheaties because it's going down. Days on market, it's been averaging 4 to 6, so 5 is not any different. 7 was what it was last year. Again, not a huge uptick or change in that. That's actually gone up a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was average about 4.6 month supply versus 4.8. That doesn't seem like a big deal, but that does show some houses are coming on the market. More houses are. Now it's going on and off as fast as we can snap our fingers. So that doesn't mean it's helping our buyers any. Because we're still in competitive offers, but there is a little bit more supply. But if you're comparing it to last year, we had almost 2 months, 1.8 months, we had an extra month of inventory. So just, that's a huge squeeze difference from 1 year to the next. So you guys are feeling that, I'm sure. Let's go over the showings to pendings average. Look at all the amount of showings that someone's getting. So obviously if you're representing a seller and you price it right, and everything's done the right way, you're gonna have a huge flood of people coming in. Obviously, this is indicative of COVID last year. So this is when the showings started to slow down. We had the stay-at-home order. So what's happening? I don't really know that this is an accurate of reality because obviously we're coming into 2 different markets based on COVID. But just FYI on that. Let me flip to new construction just to give you some averages on new construction, then we'll roll into specific MLS IDs. Averages up 9%. Again, if you're looking up, you see it's interesting. We've talked about this before, but I just toggled to resale up 14%, up new construction's up 9%.
Still behind.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if they do another bump. I bet you in fall it'll bump again. But they've got to be seeing these numbers that they're falling behind the resale. And so it's interesting.
Do you think that's why they're adding, well, we're hearing that so many of them are adding that escalation clause?
Oh yeah, they're trying
part of it too.
And they're
trying to match the market.
Yeah, I think they're using the lumber cost, which is definitely impacted.
It's a piece, but I don't think it's all of the.
No, they watch resale because that's, at least when I was in new construction, we would always watch resale as like where that needle was going.
Yeah.
And so, because it's all based on supply and demand. So if we knew that obviously it's low supply and resale, they're going to by default come to us in new construction world. But I don't see them keeping up with their market very well, but that's just me. But we don't know 100% if this is accurate because not all new construction goes in MLS. So it could be a little bit higher. Obviously, these numbers can be skewed just with a couple hundred houses. So, according to this, homes for sale in new construction, they're down 50%. There's 1,200, almost 1,300, and then this year's only 600. Again, I don't trust that super great.
Not going to MLS.
Yeah, and then so pendings are up 26%. Again, resale up 34. So it's still resale's still climbing on that. But closed sales 29% versus 9%. You see that has gone down a little bit. We were in like the 50s. I don't know if that's it's all because of the inventory. They don't have as much. But we'll kind of see as we go through. All these other things, unfortunately, don't really have a huge price per square foot average. New construction's 174 versus resale is 170. So for $4 a square foot more, would you buy new or would you buy used? I think that's the consumer's going to start to figure out the difference there. So we'll see. All right, so let's go into MLS a little bit. Let's just, MLS area numbers. Let's just go from the top. Let's go into the city. This is 10, so it's up 13%. Pending sales up 24%. Closed sale up 16%. And days on market about normal for what happened last year in supply. So that's just an interesting, that's definitely an uptick. If you work in the city, that is huge to tell them up 13%, because remember the average is only up 9%. So, all right, this is the other part of Richmond. This kind of follows more on trend. Obviously this is more like the fan area, price points. Pending sales still strong. Closed sales are down. They're only down by a few units. I wouldn't get super crazy concerned about that because you've got a lead indicator is the pending sales, so it'll catch back up with itself. A few houses isn't going to change the market there, I don't think. Days on market, almost the same. Month supply. So Richmond's kind of holding steady, which is an interesting. All right, let's go into Henrico. This is 32 in Henrico, up 20%. And we always know when we're doing these, Henrico and Chesterfield are so opposite on numbers. All right, so average pendings up 25%, closed down. But again, it's only 4 units. I don't know that I see a huge issue with that. Days on market, pretty much on trend. Supply is up following the trend. So sales price is up a little bit. Not a little bit, a decent amount. up 20%. But comparing 32 to 34, obviously area 34 has a higher price point. Pending sales though are crazy. Like that's a huge indicator for me. We haven't seen that kind of jump in Henrico in a while, at least in the last 3 or 4 months of this year. So the good news is anybody who's working area 34 is finally seeing some inventory coming on the market. Obviously it's indicative because they're already pending and then closed. Yeah, again, it's down, but look at that upswing in the next 30 to 60 days. That 40% is going to knock out that closed percentage, probably bring it back even slightly an increase. So thank God Area 34 finally has got some inventory. Now it doesn't look like it because it's been all gobbled up and obviously everything's pending. But you can't have that many pending sales without the units unless it's a crap ton of off-market sales, which I don't know that that's the case there. So, all right, let's go into Chesterfield a little bit. Let's go into 52 and 54. All right, so average up 11%. Pending sales up 38. Closed down. That's a pretty, I mean, that's starting to get into a different, I'll have to watch that a little bit. 138 versus 118 was at 20 units. Not the end of the world, but you're up 40 units on pending. So again, I think it's all, we're all playing tug of war. So pendings and closed having a little bit of a off balance, but they all tend to be catching up in days on market. This is normal. So all those 10. So nobody has any more quote supply or days on market. I haven't seen any major average changes from what the main MLS is. But all right, 54 has a tendency to be completely different than 52. So 19. What was the? Can't remember what the other one was. I'm gonna write that down. Hold on. So that was up 11. And 54 is up 19. So you can see still 54 always has a tendency to trend a little different. Up 45%, 182 units. Up 7%, which is still about the average. Days on market. One supply, everything else seems to be good. So before we go any further, I'm going to go into probably Hanover a little bit, but comparing Henrico and Chesterfield, what are you guys seeing out there, like when you're showing properties, variations between 52, 54? Are you seeing major differences in certain MLS area numbers, or is it all just crazy?
The biggest thing I'm seeing is if people start talking about wanting new, or even if it's newer, like 2019 and up, that's pretty much Chesterfield or Hanover, or New Kent. It's not Henrico. Yeah. So I was wondering if that is also part of why we're seeing the evidence of the new construction being up so much while Henrico was down the last couple months. Because that did, I haven't sold as much in Henrico lately because of what we were kind of talking about. There hasn't been anything out there. And I remember watching the last couple of months, it's been super down. And I've actually told people that I'm like, people aren't looking to live in Henrico as much as they used to.
Right.
I don't know if it's a desire to be out of short pump, but yeah, now it's changed. So
yeah, I mean, it's up 25% and 32, and then 34.
West End moms are sensitive to school being in or out, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're up 40% in a month. That's a huge difference. And I can, so yeah, I think Henrico isn't going to ever have a high new construction number because we just don't.
There's nowhere to put it. Yeah.
The land. But the good news for Henrico is we have had an influx of inventory because you can't have, an extra 100 units or 40 units here that get that. So the good news is, and I know, like, I don't think Bernice is on here, but Bernice Simmed, Happy New Year. She's heavy in new construction.
She's got a lot more coming up. Yeah.
And she's crazy busy with listings. So The good thing is finally people are, now the curiosity thing, and I probably should ask like Bernice, is where are they going? Maybe they're buying something else, but yeah, it looks like Henrico is catching up with a little bit of inventory. Chesterfield is pretty steady, in my opinion, on new constructions beating, and your price per square foot is right at the gate there. Why don't we look at like a new Kent? Let's look at, because we don't always look at, do we do? Yeah, we already did.
Yeah, New Kent would be good to look at because there's a lot more development going on over there.
Yeah, so
New home wise, yeah.
This is resale. I'll flip to new construction real quick.
27%. Wow.
Crunching numbers. All right, here we go. So resale versus this is new construction's up 14% New Kent versus resales 7. Pending up 57%. And new construction. So New Kent's busy. I know a lot of people that are showing and looking in New Kent, and
a lot of house.
Yeah, a lot of house for the money. Closed units right now are the same as what we did last year, which is holding steady. But again, these pendings will uptick that in the next 30 to 60 days. So you'll see an increase in closed units most likely the next time we do market development. So, and these are kind of following on trend. So they're not getting, they're not staying on the market that much different than, but look at what happened last year.
Yeah.
So they almost had 3 months of supply. Now they're back to the rest of the world. So the word got out that New Kent's the place to buy. You can see people pushing out towards those other areas, which is interesting, which is natural when you're having low inventory in Chesterfield and Henrico. They've got to go somewhere. They're just
surrounding counties.
I also think it's interesting because people are doing more telecommuting, so they don't have to drive to work. So it may impact.
They want space too, yeah, in and out.
They want bigger yards. They want more space, more elbow room. So I think that'll be interesting.
Is New Kent in our MLS and also Rain?
It's also, it should be, I think it's Williamsburg, WAR, or whatever they use now.
Oh, is that where it is? I didn't know where that line ended. Yeah.
It gets really gray down there, yeah. But most of the New Kent stuff is in ours from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Lately, at least.
I guess when I first started, I probably would have referred New Kent out to somebody in Williamsburg.
Oh, I was the same way. Yeah, same way, especially.
But now it seems
it seems normal.
More people doing it from us, from our area.
Yeah. Amelia, I'm showing a house for Kim and Amelia today. I haven't been in Amelia in 1,000 years. It's like an hour drive from my house, but anyway.
Yeah. That's what New Kent was. It was 52 minutes from my house. I was like, why?
But even like Amelia's up, you know, that price point's pretty much where we started.
For Amelia, yeah.
So look at to see that go from 214 to 2, they're probably freaking out in Amelia. Pending sales are 50%, but I mean, it's 15 houses versus 10. It's not easy it's not hard to get that high of a percentage when you're not. So it's not a huge percentage of the MLS and population. So, but Amelia's out there and everybody knows that that's what they want. But anyway, so anybody want to go over any other MLS IDs? What did I miss? Did I miss anything? All right, so I did 10, I did 20, 22, 34, I did 40, 42. What else did I do? I did 52, 54. Did Amelia, we did Richmond.
Did we do Hanover yet?
I don't think I did Hanover. I don't think I did 62 and 64 either.
I don't think we did either.
Where's Hanover?
We did 62, 64 last time too.
Oh, okay. Where the heck is Hanover?
That was that Chester bubble.
Hanover. What is Hanover's number?
Good question.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I can tell you in a second.
Hold on. Oh, here it is, 36.
Yeah, 36.
All right, so Hanover's up 14%, which is a little bit above trend because we're 9% on average. But the prices are crazy. Pending sales up. Wow. Dang.
I've seen a lot more tick up over there. I wonder what inventory did.
Up 5%, which that's not that bad. I mean, But that's going to change that number pretty
Yeah,
on quick. Days on market, pretty much on trend what we have. A little bit more days on market. Ours has what, 6?
But it went down 32.
So they have a little bit more supply and they're lasting a little bit more on days on market, but not by like a huge amount. Why in the world are they, why, that's crazy. So price per square foot, it's not really that much cheaper there. That's the average was 170, I think, for regular, overall resale, and it's 177. So it's not cheaper to go there. Anyway. All right, cool. Anything else I missed? Anybody else want to go anything? Petersburg is actually doing way better. I'm happy to see prices going up 30%. I know there's a few people that I coach that pendings are up 135%, which in that area is good to see. Sales is up 36. So there's definitely people going in there and, flipping and renovating and really trying to, so that's good to see. You want to see all those.
There's a lot of opportunity down there for first-time homebuyers that are struggling in Chesterfield. However, they don't want to, have that commute to work.
Right.
I've tried.
Or the taxes in Petersburg. They have the highest tax rate out of any of our counties.
They do. Yeah.
It's like $1.13 or something like that.
Yeah. Versus ours is what, $1.08?
Yeah, it's much lower.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So we covered kind of the averages there. So just kind of a overall, I think that little slight blip in pendings last month or the first quarter, we're way back on track. So I don't see any slowdown. I don't see any change in the market. I don't see any movement that's going to cause us to say that there's a bubble burst or that there's a slowdown. I tell you, I think we're going to be just as busy this summer. Like, I know y'all.
Our office had like a little mini mega camp on Wednesday.
Oh, I saw that. How was that?
It was good.
Good.
And David Childers, who is with Keeping Current Matters, I didn't realize that they were based out of Richmond, but they are.
They are. I knew that.
Cool. Yeah.
I knew that.
And so he spoke, and then I had to jump out early for something with one of my kids, but he was saying that it will probably be, let me look at my notes. It will probably be the second half of 2021 or the first part of 2022 before anything eases up in terms of inventory.
I just don't see this year how it can ease up. I don't know. I think with COVID, vaccination, people are so out and about now. We were already having good transactions and good sales with basically locked down. I think people have just like, the gun has been triggered and everybody's running the race. So I don't see how it's slowing any of that down. But we'll see if the last couple months of 2021 rolls into 2022, if it slows. But the one thing is, if your buyers can hold on a little bit, that may be good for them. November, December. Anybody that's on your pipeline. I don't know that I would coach to that to tell them that. But maybe you'll have some additional sales to finish out the year. So let's go real quick. Just a very simple market overview. We don't have to go super deep on this, but this is year to date on the agents, kind of what's going on resale world. Right, so Yateman is number one. Jenny, never can say her last name. Or
Marigee.
That's not how I would ever say that. Cabell is number 3. Margaret Way is number 4. John Daler's 5. Brian Sanford 6. So we see a lot of the same names on there. Brad Records number 9. Fonville is on there. Hogan's 14, some of the names I know. Austin Highfield is slipped, by the way, just FYI. Clayton's 23, but he runs everything under his name. Wally Hughes is 24.
A lot of these guys do.
Yeah. The
Miles,
Shaheens.
Jake,
Jaime,
Mike, everybody does.
yeah, Aaron Hungerford. Craig Vaya. Craig Vaya just has a consistent business. It's interesting to me. Chris Small. Colathers. But it's not like they're crazy. It's like, I mean, even in the top 30, like 36 to 40, they're at 6 million individually. So it's good. It just doesn't mean they're like lighting the world on fire and 100% there. So let me go all the way down to the bottom. I think I saw Bernice in here. Hold on, I just scrolled myself. Sorry, I didn't look at this one before. Tina McCabe is doing really well. I saw she posted like 25 pendings right now.
Ooh.
Oh, that's Sarah Bice.
Is that who Nikki Asbell? Is that the Tina that?
That she left because it was a nightmare.
Oh, Nikki did.
Yeah, it was not a good experience.
Oh.
Oh, look, our Bernice, she's number 80 in MLS. Look at her. I need to write that. Tina Morris, look at her, number 89. I'm gonna text her. That's from your office. Who else? Becky McNear. Austin Robin, she's also on Beth Pretty's team. She's number 99. So Shannon Milligan's 97. My good buddy. All right. Let's just look real quick on, what am I doing?
Offices.
Yeah. Or
firm.
Firm clumps them together. It's a little easier. So Long and Foster's number 1, which is not really a surprise. Hometown's number 2, Joiners 3, EXP is 4, which that has come up significantly from, it was like in the 10, 12.
Mm-hmm.
So EXP's come up significantly. 300.
You think that's just because they have more agents joining?
Yeah, it's totally market share. It doesn't mean their agents are selling more. I mean, we could probably dive into that, but they're
I would argue the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, they just have a lot of agents. 705 units, right?
Well, that's like Hometown too. They have
they just have multiple
agents.
Shaheen, Ruth, Farmville, Vaughn, they're growing too. They have multiple offices now. Richmond West is number 6, which is good. Non-MLS, that's a lot. We talked about that. That's everything from BizBos, off markets, anything and everything collectively. So that's interesting. It's taking up a higher.
I guess any new construction that's not using an agent, right?
Yeah,
they use the site agent.
Yep.
Yeah.
United is doing really well at number 8, but again, he's got a good amount of agents. Remax, Commonwealth, that's where Bernice is number 9. Napier's number 10. Keller Williams Midlothian is number 11. Keller Williams Midlothian's kind of been hovering in that 8, 9, 10, 11 spot for a while, which is good. So they're holding strong too. One South Steel Group. Hogan is number 15. Virginia Capital 16. What's that?
I said I think Mike slipped a little bit. I feel like they're usually up in the
he was up in the 10s
and ranges.
Yeah, he slipped a little bit. Yep, that's true. And then Virginia Capital Realty, which is impressive. I mean, I've seen a lot more Virginia Capital Realty signs lately. So they're at 16. Fathom 17. Lismore is 20. Coach House is 21. Which really, to be in the top 20, top 21 Coach House with the size of what they have, that's pretty good for them. Clock Tower's 20.
Tower's right there too, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's, if you look, those are kind of those boutique companies that kind of branched off. Front Door.
Where was Keaton? I didn't see it. Were they up to the top again? Because they're fairly new on their own.
Keaton's doesn't show up. If you're on their social media, they're killing it. But if
that's why I was
If you look at their number, oh, here's Keaton, 28.
Okay.
So they're at 82 units for the year.
Right there with River Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Cap Center.
Yeah.
Right.
Newman and Dunn.
Oh, they passed Newman and Dunn though.
They did,
Rival, I guess, so to speak.
Couple. There's two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. That's where they left.
Yeah.
Exit is 32. They have 78 units. Valentine property.
Continuing their trend.
Yeah. Valentine is not as high either. 59 units. She was up there a little bit more as well. But overall, Icon's 41. Jenny and Company, 47. That is interesting to me. Total of 36 units, a whole company.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be interesting to see as the market kind of shifts and turns. The smaller brokerages, are they going to be profitable and survive? I have owned a small brokerage. It's hard because eventually you realize the overhead of the pretty offices and all the swag and all that stuff. If you're only selling 45, 50 units, how can you keep going? So versus a bigger brand company can absorb some of that cost. So Dotson doesn't really count. So that's kind of who's the bottom. US Realty 1, never even heard of them.
Aren't they the ones where you list your FSBO with them?
Oh,
They're probably one of those, yeah.
That's probably
or like bank owned or something, yeah.
Because they have 18 units from that. So.
Just did something with them. I don't remember who it was, but
there's a lot of little ones down here at the bottom, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, good that they're getting to market. Well, that's pretty much what's going on in the market. Anything else you guys are seeing in your travels and your offers? Any changes in that?
I've seen, I'm calling them current foreclosures, and I want to put this into people's brains as ways to hopefully creatively target them, because I think it would create more inventory. So folks that are foreclosing on their houses or in pre-foreclosure, they're turning it over to the banks, and the banks are selling that property for a profit because of the market that we're in.
Wait,
so yeah, there's one on,
yes,
I guess. Yeah, there's one on MetaView right now in Beaver or Bumpus or somewhere out here that's a prime example. And so that loan balance doesn't really matter because the demand is so high that those bidding wars are driving the price up, which is then creating some interesting scenarios. So I don't know necessarily how we can reach out to those people, but
I mean, the buyers is good because that means you can just go to closing. Like you don't have it. It's going to speed that.
There's nothing there. Yeah. And it creates a new wrinkle because now foreclosures aren't the omen or the avoiding properties that they used to be. And on top of that, those sellers, I mean, those potential homeowners that maybe forbearance gets removed and they get stuck with no options, or you lose a job or something like that. Those people obviously aren't on social media saying, I need help. So how do we reach those homeowners knowing that putting their house on the market, even if it's an as-is sale, is probably a better option?
Yeah,
and short sales right now don't really exist either because of that. Because of that bidding war, that there's not really a net loss the bank has to approve.
I wonder how you get to that. How
do you reach those people? How do you know who they are?
And that's the thing. I was hearing about it in on a lot of those podcasts, but they were in markets like California. And I'm like, well, yeah, when it's $1 million property, I'm sure there is some money being played with, and they're selling $800K over asking. But I started seeing more of them creep up lately because, I mean, some agents are better than others, but when you reach out and they're reviewing offers on the 24th is the one that I'm referencing, the list price is $197. Well, my guy's capped at $200. So I reached out and I said, is it even worth us looking at? And she goes, oh no, we have so many offers over that. And so even if you assume they owe
is there certain
$197,
listing agents that are getting them? Do you see a trend of like certain brokerages that have
that one was Joy Ligon. So I know they do a lot of foreclosures and bank-owned properties. So it's probably direct related to the same way a foreclosure would be. It's just, I mean, you obviously can't guarantee a bidding war. but in this market,
You're
you can
almost
probably guarantee
probably
multiple
predict.
offers. I mean, even if it's not a bidding war, it's probably multiple offers, or at least a lot of traffic. And so, yeah, it's just interesting to note. I don't know how we find those people that are either in forbearance or behind on payments and say, hey, if you need help, sell your house. But
Well, I know you can, in an MLS, we could filter REOs and filter them, those REO sales against what we did last year. We can start to, I don't know if
see
they,
that.
because I'd like to see that,
Well,
that uptick or how that works.
Yeah, and some of those sites like Zillow and Realtor.com, et cetera, you used to be able to sort out pre-foreclosures. And I don't think you
Won't
can
do that
anymore
now.
because they're all brokerages. They're like, that's our data. We're going to keep
Right.
that stuff. So, I mean, it's interesting to note because that's how you found those people out that were delinquent. And there are lists of data you can buy, but that's kind of getting into the investor wholesaler world for delinquent properties and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they're not, quote, that better of a deal.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. That's where you really start running into what's your end goal there. For us, it's more of helping those people that shouldn't foreclose. How do you reach those? It's not necessarily, and then possibly inventory for buyers if they aren't getting houses.
I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe it is a solicitation to neighborhoods. It says, are you on forbearance? Has COVID affected your ability to make your payment? You know,
Yeah.
capitalize on the market now, sell, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting. The market is, this is like an interesting science experiment. We always say every 7 to 10 years the market shifts, but we are long overdue to shift, and it doesn't look like we're shifting anytime soon. So we'll see. All right. Well, thank you guys for your time.
Thank
and
you.
I'll see you guys next month for Market of the Moment. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys later.
All right.
Bye.